Hey, they're lying to you about budget cuts. Man, I don't know what the people doing on the Hill. Everybody has some political agenda to prove some philosophical point they want to make. But they talk about budget cuts, and what's happening is everybody in the country, the budget is cutting and the government's going to go away. Well, here they just finally gave money, appropriated money for the budget for this year. I mean, actually for the government's year started a couple months ago, and it's just like a week or two ago they finally officially gave them money to work. And here it is. It's growing this year, 2014, bigger than 2013. And next year, and this is from the Congressional Budget Office, the people who follow all these numbers, it's going to grow again. So sure, they tinker around the edges or whatever. The people really want to cut it, hope they do when they scream and whatever. And the people who lost a penny here scream even louder, so you think the world is coming to an end. And here's a list of the major items in the budget. And look at every one of them. Agriculture, rural development, FDA, they all increased. Commerce, Justice Department, increase. Energy and water, increase. Treasury, SBA, IRS, increase. Homeland Security, decreased a little bit from 39 billion to 39 billion, but just a little percentage. Interior increased. Health and Human Services, labor, military, construction. Here's another one. That's the second one that had a decrease, is State Department and Foreign Operations. I guess we have other ways to solve world problems now. Transportation increase. I mean, it's not big increases, but they're increases. So what is a budget cut? Budget cut means a whole lot different things than it does in Washington than it does to you and I. And the same is going on in the state level. Look at the states. Their budgets are increasing for the first time. Look at USA Today headline. Overall, the states in 2014, the budgets are up 3.8%. That's a heck of a lot higher than inflation over 2013. According to a survey of state finances released by the National Association of State Budget Officials last month, tax collectors are ahead of most states' projections from last year. So they're collecting more taxes. That means they're growing. They got more money. Everybody says, oh, you can't go and get, money to start a business or whatever it is you're looking for because you think it's all out. No, try anyway. The budget cuts here. The National Association of State Budget Officers themselves, here's what they say. The National Association says that the budget officers that almost all states will see fairly decent surpluses. That's right. No budget, surpluses in their 2014 budgets. Some, it may be for the first time, extra cash since the recession began in 2007. In many states, the surpluses will coincide with elections that mark the first opportunity for officials to be judged on the results of their economic policies. So we have more and more states are getting surpluses. They're making more money, they're collecting more taxes. So when they're crying, they don't have money to help people. Check first. Don't believe the headlines. And that's the whole thing. We love to scare people. Liars could figure it, they say. Even though figures don't lie, but liars could figure. So go with the facts and contact them anyway. Well, where are all the high-tech jobs going? Or where are they at all, actually? There's, you see ads in the paper and they're complaining there's not enough IT people, to even fill the jobs that are out there. But gosh, look at the companies that are going public and the publicly held companies. Man, an IT company, there's no jobs. Look at this data here. When Facebook went public back in 2012, it created a market value of $90 billion. Okay, now market value means like the stocks may be sold for $20 a share or something. So all the stock that's out there, what's that worth? Okay, now that's $90 billion. Okay, now Facebook at the time had 4,600 employees. Okay, now if you look at Toyota, they had a little more market value at $130 billion. But they had over 300,000 employees. So, so 300,000 employees, created from $100 billion. And here's another $100 billion company that only created less than 5,000. gosh, jobs? What? Like Boeing. Boeing now is half of that. That's only $56 billion in market value. The people make the jet planes and all that kind of stuff. And they had 172,000 employees. So this is tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of employees, 300,000 employees. And Facebook now, very wealthy company, 5,000 employees. So how many people are getting rich out of that, right? So that's probably helping make that income spread. The people who are already millionaires, made the money on that. Or look at the company that Facebook just bought. It's a little app company called WhatsApp. Okay, Facebook bought it for $19 billion. $19 billion. Boy, that's higher than we spend in the Department of Agriculture, Rural Development, and the FDA together. Okay, $19 billion. Okay, so what did they get? How many employees? 55. 55 employees splitting $19 billion. Wow! Where are all the jobs in this money that's coming into the business? Yeah, it's going to a few people. And again, that's probably what's causing a lot of the spread, or one of the causes, who knows. But it's real data. The answers are complicated, I'm sure, but look what's happening. Okay, it's time to say bye-bye to your banker. These people give you no money on interest rates for money you give them, and then charge you the highest rates in the world when they lend you money. Now, there's people really on the internet, it's called peer-to-peer lending, that will give you a heck of a lot better rate if you give them their money to invest in other people, and they give these other people a heck of a lot better rate than any bank would to borrow the money. Man, what's better than that? What will move the country faster? And our whole economy move faster forward if, number one, you could get a higher rate of return on your investment, right? Or your money that you're holding somewhere, and the person borrowing the money gets it cheaper to solve their problems or to invest in other ideas. So I just can't understand how anything can go wrong with this, because it just helps everybody so much better in the economy, instead of having these middlemen that are there now, the so-called banks, that give you 1% interest. These people will give you 5, 6, 7, 8% interest, and when you go borrow money from them, they're going to charge you 12, 15% interest, and these people will charge half of that, the interest that you're going to get. So that's why I think it's so important. It's something we have to learn. It's growing. It's not, and these are not little, little penny kind of things going on. No, these are billion-dollar businesses already, and they're going to grow and keep growing. So pay attention and listen to this expert who's really tested a bunch of these out. He's tested 2 of the biggest out, and there's really dozens, and there's more coming. So you better start learning about this stuff, because it's where we're going. So get there first. Well, Jeff Rose, man, with goodfinancialsense.com. Sense, I can't even say it. Goodfinancialsense.com. Now, who could argue with that? We all need that. And you got this great book, Soldier of Finance.
Yes, I do.
Now in the major bookstores, and also through goodfinancialsense.com. But more importantly, I found an article that you wrote about peer-to-peer lending, which is, I think, a very important thing that's going to be growing, and the banks are going to be pissed and try to get into this business and everything and make it all screwed up. But until that happens, it seems like a good deal, for people with small amounts of money to invest to get better returns, or people who have credit card debt and pay it off at a better rate than you can get anywhere else. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what I've discovered. And, just so your people know, I knew nothing about peer-to-peer lending about 5 years ago.
Ah, an honest man. Wow, you're the one.
I started blogging and I started reading articles about it. I'm like, what is this peer-to-peer lending? What is this all about?
Yeah.
And, as a financial advisor, I looked at it more from an investing standpoint. I always talk about diversifying and looking for other types of investments. And I read about peer-to-peer lending and I was interested, but I was still skeptical. I didn't know anything about it. So I put in a small amount of money, it's a couple $1,000s, because I wanted to test it. So that I could see what it was all about. And, here we are, that accounts 5 years later, and, it's averaged, I went a little bit more conservative. You can go conservative to aggressive,
Right.
but it's averaged me just about, I think, over 9% return.
9%.
So instead of a savings account, it'll give you a percent if you're lucky, and you could get 9%. That's pretty safe, huh?
Yeah, and that's the part that I was like, okay, so this is legit. This is for real. And I think that you mentioned there's an article that I wrote where I had more money. It was in my retirement account, and I just felt the market had hit a point where I was just a little bit worried we are going to take a dip. And I thought, you know what? I'm more sold on peer-to-peer lending. I want to give it a real go. I want to give it a real try. So I put in a larger amount of money. But there are two different, there's several peer-to-peer lending companies, but the two biggest ones right now are Lending Club and Prosper. And I'd already had opened an account with Lending Club, but I wanted to try them both out. So I split it up and I put relatively half into one and half in the other. And I did like a 1-year experiment to see how they would both do. And it's been good. I mean, both of them have, and I actually went more aggressive because I thought, you know what, let's see.
Getting your sea legs, huh?
Yeah, I felt a little salty. I'm like, all right, I've had a good run. Let's see what happens. And now, almost a year later, it's actually been double-digit returns. And that 12, I think, don't quote me exactly, but 12 to 13%, if not higher.
Wow. So you're getting 12%, 13% on your money, you know, and the bank's giving nothing. You know, in the stock market, who the heck knows, you're going to lose all your money anyway.
Yeah, and so I'm even more sold on it. And, you know, but like anything, you got to approach it. You got to do your research. You know, I wouldn't put everything in there, but I'm definitely very, very impressed with what it's been able to generate.
Well, how safe is the money? I mean, if you put it there, because it's not a bank, it's not FDIC insured, right?
Correct. So here's one way. So what is it like? What exactly are you investing in, or what are you doing? So you got to look at it from two sides. So if you're somebody that needs money because you want to consolidate your credit card debt, maybe you need a loan to refinance like a car loan or a home, or maybe you need a loan for a business. And instead of going to your bank or credit union, you would go to one of these peer-to-peer lending companies and you apply. And it's no different than applying to a bank or a credit union.
So it's the same background check and everything as a bank.
Correct. So it's the only advantage to you is from the lender standpoint is either hopefully you're going to get a lower interest rate and you're going to get approved a whole lot faster.
I see.
So that's the benefit.
That's from the borrower's standpoint.
From the borrower's perspective. So let's say you need $10,000 for a business loan.
Right.
You know, you get approved, and now your loan goes on the platform. So now from the lender or investor's point of view, I'm going to lend you money or invest in your loan, but I'm only going to invest anywhere between $25 to $50 of that $10,000.
So I'm just taking a piece, so my risk is not much. I mean, if that one idiot turns out to be a deadbeat, it's only $50, right?
Correct. Yeah. So like the whole concept are microloans. And, people understand the mutual fund concept of, putting a little bit of money into one stock in a mutual fund. I mean, this is kind of like the mutual fund of lending. But, banks are making good money loaning out to consumers. And basically now, because of these peer-to-peer lending companies, we're acting as that role. Like we're the bank, but we don't have all the risk because, like you said, if they default or do something stupid, okay, I'm out $25, $50.
So in other words, it's the same thing as the bank's doing, and they're lending it out for 15% or whatever it is, and collecting 14 and giving you 1. If you're putting your money in the bank. Here, if you go right to the consumer this way, you're getting maybe 10%, plus or minus or something like that on your money, huh?
Yeah, and I know if you go to Lending Club's site now, when I first started in 2008, the returns were posted a lot higher. Now I think the most conservative portfolio they say is like 6 to 7%. So a little bit more on the conservative side. But like you said, I mean, right now I think clients, if you get a 5-year CD paying you 1.35%, whereas this, it's now the other warning I'd have to say is this is not, if you need money, if you need liquidity, this might not be the best option because to sell it, there is a secondary market that you have to go to try to sell the loans, which I think could take maybe 3 months to get the money. And I talk about that in the post. So, this is not for savings money market money, but if this is for, if you're locking up your money for a CD for 3 to 5 years,
You might as well put it here, right?
We'll put it here. That's my thoughts exactly.
And as long as you diversify it too, so it's not taking your 10 grand and giving it all to one cat, right?
And the beauty of these platforms between the Lending Club and Prosper is the second largest peer-to-peer lending company out there right now. They make it so easy to where, you want, least conservative, most aggressive, and they'll go ahead and create a lending portfolio for you.
I mean, like a dozen different people that would fit your categorize, and so you split it all across them. So really, you're taking insurance because if one of those fall through, it's not a big thing.
Correct. And like, let's say if you're more conservative, you might get one or two risky notes in there, but you could always remove those if that's, if you want to go even more conservative, you can get rid of those. So it's a really user-friendly platform. I'm really blown away, and obviously the return has been, I've been very, very impressed.
Well, but also, I mean, from a borrower, you have credit card debt paying 25% or whatever the heck it is. But there is a floor of it. It's not for anybody to borrow money. I mean, you need like 650 on your credit card or something your score.
That is correct. One thing when I first heard of peer-to-peer lending, I just assumed it was for people that had really bad credit, and they were needing like a loan because no one else would approve them. Right. And that's actually completely not the case. I think with Lending Club, it's like a 660 minimum credit score. Prosper, they go a little bit more aggressive. I think they'll go down to 640 on your credit score. So I mean, you can't have. But you appreciate that from a lender or investor's point of view. I mean, if you want somebody at least has exactly.
But if you have a 660 and somebody's charging the credit card's charging you 22%, you got to get out of there.
Yeah, and that's where peer-to-peer lending is a perfect fit.
Yeah, well, that's just terrific. Now, you have a blog that helps people with all this kind of stuff, right? And there's no charge on the blog even, right?
Yeah, no, free information, good financial sense, and that's CENTS.com. I've been running that blog for 5 years now.
Wow. But also what's great about your blog, you also give dancing lessons, I see.
You have to blame my wife for that one. One thing, so for those that don't, like my wife she's my sounding board, and as most people know, personal finance is not the most exciting topic. Obviously you do a great job of trying to make it exciting and enjoyable. Right. And I've done videos, I've done blog posts, and my wife has been, the best critic, and she's like, okay, that's boring. You need to do something more fun. So she's made me dance on a few videos.
Well, you look great, though. I mean, you got those moves, man. But her blog is thehouseofrose.com, and she helps young families. Is that what she does on?
Yeah, we've got 3 young kids at home, 3 young boys. So I mean, she covers anything from recipes to design. To just, how do you manage life, when you've got a family of 5 and, total chaos. So she has a lot of fun on her blog too.
Right. Well, you sound like a delightful couple, and you're out there in the Midwest, Carbondale, Illinois, right? I don't think most of us know where that is, but it's Southern Illinois, a good, solid, American out there. And your blog, Good Financial Sense. .com, and your wife's houseofroseblog.com, and more importantly, that article you have about the difference between Prosper and Lending Club for peer-to-peer lending. If you want to borrow money or lend money, it's a great article you have on that blog, and I appreciate you doing that, and I think it's very helpful to people, and you're a financial advisor in my mind that speaks English, man.
That's my job. That's what I try to do. Our industry is horrible with industry jargon, so I try to make it fun and entertaining, but also, I want to be able to get something out of it.
Yeah, but that's it. It's helpful. Well, thank you so much, Jeff. Thanks for being there.
Thanks for having me. I've enjoyed it.
GoodFinancialSense.com.
Yes.
See, so you have to start learning non-traditional sources of money. We all been institutionalized so much about these, the way things have to be done. But there's other ways of doing things, and as a result, it could be 50% cheaper, but nobody knows about it. Well, we all have dreams of saving the world, don't we? Or most of us do, at least in our good days, in our not selfish ones. Well, now you just ran out out of excuses not to do it. Because I'm going to introduce you to someone who's just taken like $350 and raised almost $500,000 to save the world. So all you need is $350 to get almost $500,000. I mean, isn't that wonderful? I mean, it's just an incredible project. And it's not a selfish business or whatever. We should run businesses that way too. Their overhead is only $350 and they're out there collecting on the web. You're learning how to use the web actually to collect funding to send kids to school all around the globe, to build better schoolhouses all around the globe. So what better way to help people all over the world, or help individuals get an education when they can't? That's the key to the world. That's the key to survival. That's the key to economic growth. That's the key to eliminating poverty. And so this is what's there. And this is what you could do. So if you don't like something, you could take as little as $300 and wind up getting $500,000 to solve a problem we have in the country or in the world or whatever it is. And it's all by just your efforts, just your desire in here. That's all it takes. That's what you have to share, and that's what you have to channel to make this happen. And also, when you watch this video, you'll see another way that you could learn social media skills, right? Everybody talks about social media. How do you use it? Well, here's a way to get that training on how to be an expert at social media for nothing. I mean, you go Google about social media skills and learning and courses and everything. They'll charge you hundreds or thousands of dollars to do it. And here's how to get real life experience, real stuff on being an expert at this, so you can get a better job than you ever had, because every job is going to require this now. And so, especially like you're an older person, didn't grow up with social media, how are you going to learn this stuff? Well, here's a way to do it. And here's a way to really help the world. Watch these people. They're doing good stuff, and you could do it too. It doesn't take magic. It just takes desire. Well, Joyce Meng, giveology.org. I mean, it's just an incredible thing. I mean, you tell me your overhead is $350, and you've raised almost $500,000 for people around the globe to go to school and solve problems and everything on an overhead $350. Why don't we run businesses this way? How did you figure this out? That you're saving the world and have no overhead. Wonderful. What's the magic?
I think it's the 100% volunteer-driven model, the concept that small dollars and small hours can aggregate. We get everything donated because I think people are truly motivated by their ability to make a difference and to see how their investment in their time and their skills and their passion really create change in communities around the world. And so we're incredibly fortunate to have such a talented pool donate their time, their skills, and we run everything virtually, and so we're able to keep our costs down as much as possible so that as much of the dollars that we raise flows through directly to our grassroots partners around the world.
Wow. So in other words, you're setting up like clubs or chapters around the developed world that go into the communities and raise money. Like you just raised $20,000 in New York with I'm not sure what kind of party it was, but I wish it was there. Like for books in Haiti and people in underdeveloped communities that really need help badly, and you're able to give 100% of every penny you earn, right? And
the way it works is that we have.
Good. Sorry.
Yeah, the way it works is that we work with about 48 grassroots partnerships in about 28 different countries, and we really try and identify the local, very high-impact organizations that maybe you've never heard about because they're very local and individual, but they're doing incredible work in the community. Whether it's, like you said, library construction in Haiti, all the way to teacher training in Pakistan, rural scholarships in China. And the way that we do that, it's almost 50% online through our giveology.org funding platform and about 50% through our chapters. We have about 18 of them globally. And they're just basically groups of students or young professionals or anyone who just mobilizes their community to put on together events and awareness building events to raise funding for these partners.
Wow. So in other words, like say in China, so teacher training in China, when it's, there's no small villages in China, a small village of 1 million or whatever, that you find some local grassroots organizations that heavily involved in that, and you're able to raise funding from, you find a chapter in Scranton, Pennsylvania or something that to hook them up to help them with that. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it's really building those communities around the world, leveraging technology.
But you also mentioned that it's the people who are active with you in the national or even in the chapters are able to learn skills themselves because it's all online, right? It's all virtual, and they're able even to like because you're a nonprofit, they could learn how to use Google Ads, right? To learn how to raise money on the web, and it costs you nothing because Google Ads give it to you for free, right?
Yeah, we're very fortunate to get a Google grant, and so we have like a lot of different opportunities for volunteers on our team to develop skills, like whether it's on the social media side or on the advert spending side. We published a book, and all our writers were students or young professionals, and
wow,
the chance to be able to use the opportunity of Giveology to really make a difference and to develop your own skills and talents and to leverage what you already know and learn from such an incredible network of teammates, I think is one big reason why we've been really successful.
So in other words, if I was out there and I'm impressed with Giveology because it's doing good work and gives 100% of the money to the people who really need it, and there's no overhead except $350, that if I want to learn social media or something, I could come to one of your chapters or call your headquarters and say, hey, I want to give some of my time to help develop your social media, but I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Can you point me?
Yeah.
Is that a real situation for you or not?
Yeah, the idea is we really believe that there's no one who can't learn these things. And the great thing is there's a lot of mentorship built into our program, and so even if you just really want to learn something, there's people who'll teach it to you, and we have all these different resources, and we have a mentorship scheme within the internship programs and the volunteering programs that we've developed. That way people can perform at their best and gain some real world experience while doing it.
Wow. So if I want to be a graphic artist, I could do the same thing with you guys, and you'd give me little projects and mentoring about how to do all this stuff, and all towards your Giveology process. But I would learn and build up those skills, it seems, by working for somebody who's really doing neat stuff around the world, right? Well, you have how many organizations? 40 organizations you're working with around the globe? Yeah.
We work with about 48 grassroots partnerships in 20 countries currently.
And then these are people that you vent in these countries that are doing good work that you help raise funds for them to do work in these third world countries that need it. For $50 is what keeps somebody not going to school, right? So that's what you guys are here for. Yeah.
Yeah, and we spend a lot of time vetting our potential projects. My background is in development economics, and so we have great connections through our volunteer network and through our board members to connect with organizations that we really think are doing and throwing down inputs, but focusing on the quality of the programs that they're doing and maximizing the impact that they create per dollar. We have a very extensive screening process and due diligence process in place to admit new grassroots partners to our funding network.
So they're the people who get the money. So you're not just willy-nilly giving out the money. So you got it really there. And then the volunteers. So what's your network of volunteers? You have how many people doing this now?
So we have about 30 core team members who lead the strategy of the organization, and then we probably have over 100 global volunteers.
Wow!
They drop in for a translation project here and there,
right?
For an event, and then we have 18 chapters, and each chapter size varies, but maybe between 8 and 15 would be the typical size of a chapter, and so we end up touching a lot of people. But the great thing is
you got a couple hundred people involved in this already, right?
Yeah, and the great thing is people who join our team, even if they end up moving or something happens, they're still part of the Giveology network, and so the idea is you never lose these connections because I think it's so important to stay in touch, and whether it's 10 minutes here, an hour here, everyone has an opportunity to give back.
Yeah. Well, you can, and even if it's $1, because that goes a long way in these countries for someone to really change their life. Well, it's wonderful you guys are there, and you're online 24/7, giveology.org, right? And there you can volunteer or be an intern or whatever, start a chapter, or just share some of that money or share some of your time to help. Yeah, this wonderful organization that really does everything with volunteers and gives, it sounds like 120% of your money away.
Yeah, we try and do matching campaigns and other things to get people inspired to give.
Yeah, well, wonderful. Well, you're a delight, Joyce. Thanks for being there, and thanks for starting giveology.org, right?
Yes.
Take care. You fired up? Ready to go? I mean, just look at it. I mean, you see how focusing on your attention on something can really have an impact. I mean, how many people? She got 81,000 volunteer hours already. 81,000. 7,500 donors already. And with an overhead of $350. Man, put the government to shame. Put a business to shame. Boy, I haven't figured out how to do that. Well, I bet you didn't know you can make flour out of bananas. Right. So flour. So you can have like a banana flour to make pancakes with, or put in your smoothies, and it's all gluten-free. I mean, these two young guys found this great idea, and actually they found it by doing volunteer work to help underdeveloped countries in Africa, right? They were doing volunteer work in college, and they found these women entrepreneurs in Africa that would take the old bananas. This country had so many bananas, they didn't know what to do. And so they dried them out and made flour on them. And now they have a product that is just flying off the shelves. They're making like almost $30,000-$40,000 really in just introducing the product on the internet. So they just packaged it up, showed a picture of it, and they already got $30,000-$40,000 on this stuff. And it really is going to be part of the health food craze, that we have. They're looking at gluten-free. It also cleans out your insides, like very few products good. And what doesn't taste good like a banana? I mean, I think bananas are one of the coolest, products to eat, fresh, real, no stuff added to it or anything. So they're making great flour out of this stuff, so you could use it in a lot more ways. But more importantly, learn how they did it. Learn how from college they put together this business, and using internet money to do it, all from an idea they had volunteering in college. So you never know where ideas come from and how good they could be, and really the power that's out there now for you to develop your ideas and make them marketable and make you a living too, and a nice one to boot. Well, Todd Francis and David Witzer, man, you're the We Do Gluten-Free guys. Man, I think when I first saw about this, that you're making flour to cook pancakes and bread with and everything made out of bananas. I mean, that sounds like it's harder than going to Mars. How the hell did you think of this stuff?
I don't even know. I was on a service trip to Africa, and there was a group of 25 women. I was helping with small business loans, and one of the businesses that was funded by the Kenyan government was a banana flour company.
Wow.
And Todd and I came back, introduced the idea to Todd, and we entered a local business competition at our college, and ended up placing in it and got some money and confidence to run with this idea. So here we are.
So you're a bunch of kids. and so these women in Africa, and you're saying because they had too many bananas that were going to waste in Africa, so they just dry them and make flour, huh?
Well, it's, in that area, bananas are abundance, not wheat. And that's the thing to have. They can go pick it off the side of the street and dehydrate them in the sun and make it. They use it for their kids, breakfast, mix it with a little water or milk. And or make pancakes out of it, make whatever, bread out of it, and that was their alternative. And that's the
But more importantly, I mean, I think you're hooking on to the gluten-free market, which sounds like a big growth industry.
Yeah, we started out with the gluten-free, and now we're realizing it's just the health industry. Everyone, paleo-friendly.
What is that word?
Health-conscious.
Paleo-friendly?
The paleo diet.
What is that? I don't even know what that is.
The paleo diet's it's a huge movement right now.
Especially with CrossFit, a lot of people that do
that. I see. You got to be young and fit for that.
Meat and vegetables.
I see.
No refined sugars and stuff. It's pretty.
Well, I don't believe in any of that refined stuff. Yeah, I think that's like, cocaine. It's the same process and it's addictive as hell, so it must be the same. So but you're now on Kickstarter fundraising for this, and you went out asking for $30,000, and just in a few weeks you got $25,000. You're almost there. So people better find you on Kickstarter if they want to be the first in the neighborhood to get banana flour. Man, just saying that. I mean, God, I want banana flour. Of course you want banana flour, but you're interested too, what you're telling about, that this has something called, by eating bananas before they're ripe, you get resistant starch as a health benefit. What is this?
Resistant starch, and we're still learning about it, but this is something that the experts have contacted us about to get samples. But resistant starch is a form of starch it's limited in very few foods in the world, and banana flour being one of them. On the Dr. Oz show, they talk about it scrubbing the gut.
Wow.
Sweeping the colon clean, potentially for colon cancer. It sits in the intestines longer, which allows you to retain your nutrients and your energy a lot longer. So we're still learning about it and what this product is made up of it and what we lose and gain through cooking and not cooking it. But it's a pretty neat element to this product.
You're going to have Popeye food here, aren't you?
Yeah.
Picture
to Disney.
Yeah, that's incredible. And so the brand name is We Do Gluten Free, WEDO. And you can find you guys on WeDoGlutenFree.com, which is easy enough. And actually, before the Kickstarter plan is over, that's really almost the only place to get this stuff now, right?
Yeah, there's some stores here locally where we're at. We already have some of the product.
There it is, right. It looks like ice cream, so it can't be bad.
It's on the shelves. We're getting it out there. We had a lot of pre-orders before we even launched Kickstarter.
Wow.
We had a lot of people interested in this once they started to hear about it and saw our website out there online. And so currently we're just launching Kickstarter, getting the product there. So go get it today. But
I mean, you got like 500-600 people up there, who want this already. So something that, I mean, it just sounds wonderful. It's a wonderful idea. You guys put in your heart, it seems, for the last couple of years. Your parents put up with you doing this stuff, traveling around the world, trying to find banana plantations. Is a wonderful thing. But mostly, I think for economic development in underdeveloped countries is what you're really, how this started, right?
Yeah.
And you're continuing to do that as, giving business to these underdeveloped countries and not having a lot of middleman in the middle, right? That they're actually taking the bananas and drying them or whatever it takes, like with you and your Kickstarter video, which is a great video, man. I love that.
I wish I had a question mark for open instead.
Right. that it's going to be economic development for these companies or countries. I mean, besides making a nice living for you, but it's really doing something good for somebody else. And providing a health food product. That just sounds fun. Who can't not like a banana? I have some here. But you say the bananas in your flour are better than eating this. Because this, when it gets ripe, has all the sweet stuff in it, right? And you have zero fat in yours, right? So it's healthier for us.
Correct. Yeah, it's got all the potassium, the fibers that the regular bananas contain as well.
So we won't have a problem with Obamacare once we start all eating, gluten-free banana flour.
Yep. Too young.
Well, it's wonderful. Nice to have you guys here and doing something worthwhile, not only for us who need to be healthier in this country. We're like the fattest developed country in the world. People in this country are fatter than anywhere else. It's disgusting. So thanks for working on that problem. Thanks for working on the problem people in underdeveloped countries who want a piece of the action, and you're helping that. And and for putting your heart into something that's really important. And so to find you, it's WeDoGlutenFree.com, right? And you'll be there. Right. And so the Kickstarter is over, something in February 27th. So after that, you can still go to WeDoGlutenFree.com and find you guys and get this stuff for where it is locally. Yeah, it's always there. Well, thank you again, guys. Fun to talk to you.
All right. Cheers.
Okay, so you got bananas. Right? What a fun word. I love the word banana. Right, I can't wait to get some of it. I make smoothies all the time. They say, hey, this is great for smoothies too. So, but more importantly, it shows how you can take your idea in this country now, and you need very little organization, very little money or whatever to just get it out there and make this place a better world. Look they're going to make kids healthier, they're going to make grown-ups healthier, they're going to make jocks stronger and everything, just with this product they learned from these ladies in Africa. Well, wouldn't you like to be a hero in life? Oh, we all do, man. We read stories about it. As kids, we read about the superheroes and everything. Well, here's a guy I want to introduce you to that thinks we could all be heroes. And you know what he's doing? He's designing jeans for superheroes. That's right. He said if you have a great pair of jeans, then you're going to feel like a superhero. And he's a very special jeans. And actually, if you order them now, you get them 50% off because he's just starting, and he's trying to raise money, and he's on a crowdfunding site, trying to do this. And so you can really take advantage of these. Are superhero jeans. You'll be the first on the block to have superhero jeans. And it's not there's goofy or anything like that with stripes on them or capes or anything. No, they're just more traditional jeans, but with just accents that make it really special in a way. And what I learned from him too, a lot of the jeans are made from old plastic bottles. That's right. With cotton, plastic bottles, reuse, so the recyclable stuff, it's very organic. And it's all, his story is really all about being a leader. He knew nothing about jeans before he got into this. Actually, he was a financial consultant with a big bank doing financial research and all that kind of big money stuff, and just wasn't fulfilled. And he was, just saw jeans. He didn't like any of the jeans. He liked wearing jeans. Always had a real good pair of jeans around, or maybe 2 or 3. And he said, God, this world needs a better pair of jeans, and a pair of jeans that people can feel that they could really make a difference in the world. And that's what he wants to do. And I guess that's what he's doing with his company. He left the job he had so he could go out and do something where he feels he's really going to make a difference in the world. And that's the way to live, because you could live harder. You could give more of yourself if you think that what you're doing is going to make a difference in the world. And that's what his jeans are all about. It's a guy who knew nothing about fashion. He knew nothing about the business. He just got on Google, he said, and started figuring it all out. All right, that's what it is. And so with very little money now, and he got on the internet and raised like $20,000 to go in production with his jeans. Jeans for superheroes. And people want to leave their mark on life, and I think we all do. And I think any little extra that we have, like me with my suits, I feel that helps me feel that, hey, I really want to do something in life before it's over. And we have so many options in life, especially living in a culture like we do here. We don't have to just feed ourselves. We have an opportunity to do more than that. And we're giving that choice. So I think we all have an obligation, living in this country, how we can contribute and give more. And that to me is how you get more out of life, is by giving more. That's why giving is so selfish to me, because it feels so good. So the most selfish thing you could do in life is give. So watch his story, and I interview with him on how he went from a job he didn't like at all to now providing superhero jeans for the rest of us. Well, Andrew Musa, man, you came from you were a high-flying, investment researcher and telling people what to buy and sell in the market. Now you're telling us what to buy in jeans. You got some of the coolest jeans I've ever seen. They're high-end and stylish, and you have that great little pocket thing on that change pocket. What made you think of putting that in the pocket?
Well, just first off, thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate the opportunity. Well, that's it. You know, having worked in finance, what I noticed is that a lot of individuals, they wear that pocket square in their suit, and it's something they're more inclined to feel comfortable with. So I said, if you're comfortable with it on the pocket square in your suit, then you'll be comfortable.
I mean, up here, like the pocket up here. Yeah, I see. Well, that's it. So on the jeans, so now you have a distinctive. I mean, you go in and look at blue jeans in a store, man. They're all the same. But now yours is going to be that you're going to have that pocket square sticking out on that change pocket, and you'll know that boy, there's Andrew's jeans. But more importantly, you say every pair of jeans has 6 plastic bottles in them?
Yeah. There's 6 to 8 plastic bottles. I mean, it's the technology that they use with the supplier of denim from the U.S. And basically, they use a technology that essentially blends the plastic bottles into polyester, and then that's woven with the cotton, and you have a nice pair of denim.
Wow. So this is ecological, a green set of jeans, in a way that you have, that you're recycling bottles in there. And it's not, they don't shine. I mean, they don't look like.
It looks like a typical pair of jeans.
Yeah. But I think more important about, people, even if they're not interested in jeans, should look at your video on Kickstarter. I mean, you have a video on Kickstarter there that really, I think, speaks to how everyone should start living. And I guess that's what your point is, that your jeans will help you start living that way and how to be a hero in life. I mean, it is just a wonderful message. I think there's, I feel my heart hurts for people who can't find that. And that's why you're doing for everybody else, showing them what you've done. Chuck this big career on, on comparable to our Wall Street kind of thing, making big money, to go with something that is in your heart to help somebody else. And that video says that. You should be making videos instead of, along with jeans. Put a little video in the change pocket. Yeah,
that's it. I'll keep it in mind.
Yeah, keep that inspiration there, because it really is inspiring. So I guess that's what you're trying to do with your jeans: inspire people to live.
No, absolutely. That's the goal of the jeans. The goal is to remind you that you, or everyone has the ability to go out there and to make a difference and to be a leader. And then we have so many reminders that are all subtle on the jeans to just sort of, remind you, hey, I can make a difference. Yeah.
And to find you in the jeans and to get a pair of 50% off jeans right now, ImperiumDenim.com. And Imperium means what in Latin?
It means absolute power.
Absolute power. You put these jeans on and you feel like Superman.
Exactly.
And go out and do good in the world. We need more people doing good, especially like you, Andrew, who shows us how you don't have to keep doing the stuff that you used to do for some other reason. You go and follow that heart and contribute more to the world, right?
Yeah, that's the goal. Make a difference.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And people out there, watch that video of his. It's terrific. A great story. Take care, Andrew. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Okay, now watch this video if you ever felt that, boy, I can't do this because I don't know what I'm doing. Here's a guy who said that because he wanted to invent something to solve a problem because a friend of his hurt his back and he couldn't get out of bed, couldn't work on his computer, so he wanted to have something that could work on your computer over your head, and he didn't know anything about it. The guy studied film, what the heck does he know about engineering or any of this stuff? But he just got on the phone, on the internet, and start working on this and finding people who knew, finding manufacturers, finding everything, just finding. And he went from ground zero, not knowing anything, to learning all he needed to know in order to go on the internet and get like $100,000 to make this thing happen. That's right. So he was able to go out and learn. And I believe in that so much. I mean, I grew millions of businesses like that. I mean, I started a business 35 years ago or something, my first one, doing term papers, and I flunked English in college, you know. And I got 2 New York Times bestsellers. You could figure things out in this country, you know. And people are there, they're dying to help you. You know, you have to ask. You know, the people want to sell you stuff, that's fine. You just stay away from them. There's other people that'll give it to you for free and help you, because it's a natural instinct in our life, in our society, to help each other. So when you contact somebody who is an expert in something that you need their advice, believe me, 9 times out of 10, you treat them well, they'll help you for free. Everybody wants to show off. Everybody, you know, loves being needed. And you could touch that in people by doing projects and doing things you want to do in life that you never thought you could do. And you could get better information than anybody else, or better information than the people selling it, because the people selling you information spend more time in their life figuring out how to get your money than they are in getting the latest information. So usually the people who are experts in things are sitting in little cubby holes. Nobody knows they're there. Nobody talks to them. They haven't got a phone or an email in 20 years or something, because that isn't junk. You know? And if you contact them with a genuine need that you want to know about what they know about in order to make the society better, or to solve even your own problem, or whatever it is, it's a basic human instinct to want to help you. And that's why you can use that to your advantage. We all don't know everything in life. There's no way we can. Life is too complicated out there to be able to do that. But you can find out the best information is available, and it's for free. And you just go out there and start asking, start learning. This is how do you think reporters act? You know, when they do an article on something, you know, they don't know anything about it, but they know how to get the information. And it's just no magic. It's just by contacting people and asking and being polite. The more polite you are, the more you'll get that information. So watch this. Well, Eric, and the last name is Sen. Is that how you pronounce it?
Sen.
Yeah. What's the heritage of that? What is Sen?
It's, you know, French, German.
I see.
Swiss,
So you're
somewhere over there in the whole system.
I see. You're mongrel then, right?
Yeah.
But right now, you got something that's very easy to say, and it's the right arm, right? The right arm. And this thing, I saw this, you know, and I just think this is something from heaven, because I don't read papers anymore. There's nobody's papers, no more books. And now I can sit in my bathtub and watch and read on my laptop, right?
Right. That's right. Yeah, you know, we originally invented it for people in hospital beds and nursing homes. And people were, you know, we thought it was going to be strictly a medical device to begin with.
I see.
We kind of were like, wait a second, I think any consumer would really
Well, actually,
enjoy
your
this
partner was laid up, right? He had some big back problem and couldn't do
Yeah.
his IT work, huh?
He was repaving his driveway, and
Oh my God!
the sandbags were a little too heavy for him, so he ended up, you know, in bed for a couple weeks, and that's when, you know, he kind of said, hey, that there's really a need for something to help me continue to be productive, and
So you know, you studied filmmaking, and he got together with you, and you said, hey, well, let me figure this out. And you figured out this whole big gadget just by getting on the phone and the internet and talking to people all over the world on how this sucker works, huh?
Yeah, it was. I really started from scratch, and
You're not even an engineer, huh?
Yeah, not even an engineer, but
Yeah.
I worked with some really great people, and we got the thing designed. You know, it took a long time.
Yeah.
There was a lot of waiting for prototypes and parts to come in, where I felt like I should be doing something else, but you really couldn't do anything else except just wait and think and continue to test the product.
So it's like wine. You have to wait till it's ready, right?
It's like wine. It's like wine.
You can't hurry it. But that must be a wonderful lesson at your age to find out, I mean, something you had no idea what the hell it was or how to make something like this. And you just get it out and start scrounging around the world, and people would help you for nothing.
People would
right?
help. You just got to ask. Just got to ask.
Ask,
you know? And if you don't understand something, just ask them what it is.
Right.
and don't pretend that you know, because you probably don't, and they probably know better than you, especially in manufacturing, which is such an interesting and crazy industry.
So in other words, you found out how to design or make this whole thing by being stupid, huh?
That's right. You know, just went into it blind and came out with a nice product. So we're happy it can help people out.
But I mean, it's more than it. I mean, we all sit at our desk and things like this, and so this is a device you just clamp on. I mean, it's very reasonable. And so you want to stand up and work for a while, you can do that, right? Or in your bed, or anywhere you are. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's the thing. A lot of people are going to stand-up desks
Yeah.
these days. Google's been doing it for years, and a lot of people, as Google leads, a lot of people follow.
Exactly.
So a lot of people are doing it. Their employees are, feeling better and working better, and stand-up desks are expensive. Thousands of dollars. And what do you want to do when you want to sit down? Because you don't have to stop sitting altogether. You just got to sit less.
Right.
And so this is a way for you to stand up and work for an hour or two, and then sit back down, relax for an hour or two, and just switch it up, just so you get your blood circulating, and it's definitely a more ergonomic solution as we put on the Kickstarter campaign. It's hard to get away from Kickstarter's rules. You can't say anything about health benefits.
I see. So you're not going to cure cancer with this, huh?
Right. It's not a cure-all.
It's a cure-little.
It's a cure medium.
But I mean, you went on this crowdfunding platform. You just started like in 2 weeks. You got 80 grand, man. You were hoping to get 40 grand in about 6-8 weeks, and in 2 weeks you got 80 grand. I mean, that must feel wonderful to see those numbers clicking.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. When we were written up in CNET, right after the article went live, we were getting pledges almost $100 a minute.
Wow.
So that only lasted for half hour. But,
right, but hey, it's just like if it didn't happen at all, yeah.
It just kept refreshing, and just seeing the backers come in. And I had my partner and our PR lady on the phone, and they were all going nuts. So it was really good. And the thing is, everybody. There's different options out there for tablet arms and tablet docks and stuff like that, but they're all kind of a little bit flimsy, and they tend to walk themselves down over time. They don't support small laptops like ours, and we really felt that if we could create a device that incorporates both tablets and laptops, no one really
and your iPhone too, you could put on, right? I mean, anything. So tablets, lifetime offer. I mean, you could probably put a small kid on this too. It seems.
Recommend it.
We got those straps to keep them in.
But you can put a tablet up there, and then your phone next to it, and read your Kindle at the same time.
Right. No, that's I just as an old guy, my life changes a little bit, and I just love relaxing in the tub. But man, I want to read in there and do my work and things like that. And so now you solved all that problem, and it's not just some big, like octopus thing. I mean, it's a very compact little device that really fits anywhere. It seems you just clamp it to the edge of a table or something, right?
Yeah, and the cradle actually spins off, and the way we ship it in almost something in the size of a small personal pan pizza box.
I see. So it wraps around. I see.
Up, and the cradle sits right on top. And I went through the first test. A couple weeks ago, I was traveling from Austin to LA, and I put it in my backpack, and I said, "Oh, I'm going to take this through security and see if they say anything." And they
went right through. Wonderful. So you're not a terrorist with it. Oh, that's wonderful. So, I mean, the way to do it, I mean, to get one now, I mean, you get one before you guys finish on Kickstarter, then you could get it at a discount, right? And you could get it before anybody else on your block has one, so you could show off to everybody, right?
That's right. Kickstarter, is a wonderful platform for launching new ideas. I have a friend that just just launched a film project, and she raised $35,000 for editing. But for something like that, it's kind of just a donation. But for us, Kickstarter is really our sales platform.
Right, exactly. And the people are getting a bargain by doing it there.
Right.
So the way to get it, it's to go to therigharm.com, right? So you just go rightarm.com. If you're on Kickstarter, you'll be able to tell there and get one right away, or just look at it. I mean, that video you did with those kids, and are they your kids? Are you old enough to have all those kids, or what?
They're not my kids, but they're my cousin's kids, and they're beautiful children.
Oh, they're just terrific. I thought from Central Casting or something. I said, what are these guys?
The girl that was a model in our video in the bathtub, and she ended up getting a modeling job from the video.
Really wonderful. See, so you are a filmmaker. See? Well, wonderful. Well, it's a great idea, Eric, and it's practical, it's useful, and people with back problems, or potentially back problems, which we all have, the way we live our lives. I mean, this seems like a real savior, even though you're not supposed to say that on Kickstarter.
Kickstarter's been so good to us. We'll play ball with them.
Yeah, I understand, right. Well, wonderful. So it's therigharm.com. Eric, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
It's a great idea.